Thank you so much for watching Landumc Goes There. Please subscribe and hit the like button and the bell notification button. The Twilight Zone is an American science fiction anthology television series that was created and presented by Rod Serling. It ran on CBS from October 2nd, 1959 to June 19th, 1964. Each of the episodes present a standalone story in which the characters find themselves dealing with often disturbing or unusual events, and it often has a surprising ending and a moral to it. The show featured both established stars and younger actors who would go on to become much better known later on. Serling went on to be executive producer and head writer. His opening and closing narrations usually would summarize the episode's events, encapsulating how and why the main character or characters had entered into the Twilight Zone. This show is still relevant today because the themes that Rod Serling dealt with are timeless. Once the series aired in 1959, it changed the face of television completely. It has to be one of the most well-written and produced shows of all time, dealing with really heady themes and provocative commentaries on society through the lens of creepy stories that remain terrifyingly potent to this day. It does rattle you in a lot of the episodes and really gets you to thinking. It tackles subjects about ghosts, alternate worlds, nuclear war, and what it means to be human. The show started off with a bang in the first season and episode 1, with it being entitled, "Where is Everybody?" That immediately set the tone for the series going forward. Not having any recollection of who or where he is, Mike Ferris wanders the deserted suburban town of Oakwood, not being able to find another living person, slowly becoming more paranoid as his pursuit goes on. Things take a turn for the worse after Mike hears a phone booth ringing in the distance, rushing to it only to find that no one will answer. Mike continues to spiral until finally the rug is pulled out from under the viewer and the facade cracks. The town of Oakwood was never real, and Mike was a subject for military experiment trying to simulate the emptiness of being the only person on an uncharted planet to assess how their soldiers would handle it. Mike's commanding officer says they haven't been able to find a way to suppress that loneliness, and that the next time Mike would feel it again, it would be real. This episode leaves us with a chilling message. We humans desire companionship. Without it, we fall apart. One of the most well-known and disturbing of the show is an episode called The Eye of the Beholder. The show begins with Janet Tyler, whose face is wrapped in bandages, reminiscing that she felt like she scared everybody that looked upon her. Janet says that she doesn't want to be beautiful or even to be loved, only to not have people turn away in panic and horror when they see her face. To help with her condition, the government has put together their best doctors, slowly trying to help fix her face, though nothing seems to take. With each failed operation, Janet grows more and more desperate, asking her doctors when they will finally take her bandages off and let her live life once again. After an outburst on the balcony of her hospital room, Janet's doctors finally agree to take her bandages off to check their work after their most recent surgery. Tensions build after bandage is removed, only to reveal that Janet herself is beautiful. Everyone else that she's around looks like monsters. The doctors finally reveal that they have had a man named Walter who has a similar condition to Janet, and they allow them to escape before the police show up, all but condemning them to be hunted for the remainder of their days for being so different. From the way we judge things today and back then, they were gorgeous. It was everybody else that was grotesque. In Season 3, Episode 26, we get exposed to the fact that when a child gets lost, it's always a harrowing experience for the parents who try to find them. What makes this episode even worse, though, is that the parents lost their child in their own home under mysterious circumstances. Little Girl Lost tells the tale of Ruth and Chris Miller, who discover that their daughter Tina has disappeared without a trace in their suburban home. However, they can still hear Tina's voice throughout the house, begging for her parents to find her. Like any parent would, Chris and Ruth tear apart the house, searching for their daughter. All this with the help of the family dog Mac, until they come to Tina's bedroom, where they can hear her the clearest. Hearing his owner's voice, Mac the dog rushes under Tina's bed and vanishes. Totally unsure on what to do next, the couple calls their physicist friend Bill, who comes over to try to help. Bill then discovers a portal that leads to what he calls the fourth dimension, and that Tina may be hopelessly lost forever. Refusing to let this be the case, Chris tells Bill to hold on to him as he rushes into the portal. Inside, he finds a world he can barely comprehend, swirling and distorting constantly. Luckily, Chris is able to rescue Tina and Mac from the portal. Now, without a doubt, the most controversial episode was one called The Encounter. It was the 151st episode of the series and was broadcast on May 1st, 1964. After its original broadcast, it wasn't shown again in syndication until 2004. People freaked out over the racial overtones in it, which is absolutely absurd. This is a great episode, and you definitely need to watch it. It's about two men who are alone in an attic, a young Japanese American and a seasoned veteran of yesterday's war. It's 20-odd years since Pearl Harbor, but two ancient opponents are moving into position for battle in the attic that's crammed with skeletons, souvenirs, mementos, old uniforms, and rusted metals. Ghosts from the dim reaches of the past that will end up leading them into the Twilight Zone. Take some time and watch an episode of this fantastic series. It's one of the most well-produced shows you'll ever see. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll continue to chase the classics.